The baby's scream cuts through the cabin like a siren nobody asked for. Ethan's hands shake as he bounces Maribel against his chest, gentle, desperate, the way you hold something precious that's also falling apart. The pacifier dangles useless from his pinky finger. The bottle's empty, the diaper's fresh. He's tried everything twice, and still her tiny face is red and twisted, mouth wide, lungs pulling air just to scream it back out. Seat 18F feels like a spotlight nobody wants to stand under. A woman 2 rows up glances back, her lips pressed thin. She doesn't say anything, but her eyes do. Control your child. A businessman across the aisle tugs his noise-canceling headphones tighter, like he can squeeze Maribel's cries out of existence. The teenager in 19B mutters something to her friend, and they both laugh behind their phones. Ethan whispers into Maribel's soft curls. "It's okay, baby girl. Daddy's here. We're okay." He's lying. His chest is tight. His throat burns. Sweat creeps down his spine despite the recycled air blasting cold from the overhead vent. This flight is 3 hours long. They're 12 minutes in. "Hey, I'm really glad you're here. Be honest. Have you eaten today? What did you have? Tell me that, your location, and the time. And if you're new, help me prove something wrong. My mother said drill stories would never reach 10,000 subscribers, but stories like this deserve to be heard. So don't leave without subscribing. It feels empty when you come in and leave without saying a word. Now, let's continue." The flight attendant walks past slowly, her smile tight and professional. She doesn't stop, but Ethan feels her measuring him, judging whether he's the kind of problem that needs managing. His stomach twists. He knows what happens to parents who can't keep their kids quiet on planes. He's seen the videos, the public shaming, the escorts off the aircraft. He can't afford that. Not today, not when this job in Oakland is the only thread keeping him from unraveling completely. Maribel wails louder, and a man in the row ahead turns around. He's older, silver hair, expensive watch. His face is carved from irritation. "Seriously?" the man says, loud enough to be heard over the engine hum. 3 hours of this?" Ethan's voice catches. "I'm sorry, I'm trying. Try harder." The words land like a slap. Ethan's jaw tightens. His eyes sting, but he blinks hard because crying now would be the final crack in a dam that's already leaking. He rocks Maribel faster, bouncing his knee, humming a lullaby his wife used to sing before he cuts the thought off. Can't go there, not now. Maribel's sobs hitch into gasping breaths, and for half a second Ethan thinks maybe she's calming down. But then her face screws up again, and the next scream is even worse. It's the sound of a baby who doesn't understand why everything feels wrong, who doesn't know her mother isn't coming back, who only knows her father is scared, and she can feel it in every trembling touch. A woman across the aisle leans toward her husband. She doesn't whisper quietly enough. "Some people shouldn't travel with babies." Ethan's throat closes. He wants to explain, wants to tell them he didn't choose this, that 6 months ago he had a partner, a plan, a version of life that made sense. That his wife's death wasn't a tragedy he invited, that this flight isn't a vacation, it's survival. But nobody asked. Nobody ever does. The cabin feels smaller now, the air thicker. Every set of eyes on him, a weight pressing down on his shoulders. He adjusts Maribel in his arms, trying a different angle, a different rhythm, but nothing works. Her little fists beat against his chest, and he wonders if she blames him too. The man in front sighs loud and theatrical, pulling out his phone to probably complain to someone who isn't trapped in 18F with a screaming baby and a father who's drowning. Ethan's voice is barely a whisper now. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." He doesn't know if he's talking to Maribel, the passengers, or himself. The flight attendant circles back. This time she stops, crouches down beside his seat. Her smile is still there, but it's wearing out. "Sir, is there anything we can do to help?" The question sounds kind. It isn't. Ethan hears what she's really asking. "Can you fix this, or do we need to intervene?" I've got it," he stammers. She's not used to flying. I'm trying everything." The attendant nods slowly. "I understand. But we do need to keep the cabin comfortable for all passengers. If the situation doesn't improve, we may need to discuss other options." Other options. Code for removal, code for humiliation, code for the moment everyone pulls out their phones to record the single dad getting kicked off a plane because his baby won't stop crying. Ethan's pulse hammers in his ears. Please, just give me a few more minutes. The attendant straightens. Of course. She walks away, but Ethan knows she's watching. They're all watching. Maribel's cries spiral higher and Ethan feels his control slipping. His vision blurs. His hands won't stop shaking. He tries the pacifier again. She spits it out. He tries singing. His voice cracks. He tries standing, swaying in the narrow aisle, but a passenger behind him clears his throat pointedly. Sit down. Stay small. Don't make it worse. Ethan sinks back into the seat and the walls close in. The hum of the plane sounds like static. The overhead lights feel too bright. Maribel's screams echo in his skull, mixing with his own failures, his own guilt, the voice that whispers, he's not enough. He never was. And then, movement, 2 rows up. A woman stands. She's black, her hair wrapped in a patterned scarf, her face calm in a way that doesn't make sense given the chaos. She doesn't look annoyed, doesn't look judgmental. She looks steady. Grounded. Like someone who's survived storms and learned to walk through them without flinching. She steps into the aisle, starts walking toward Ethan. The cabin holds its breath. Ethan's heart stops, because she's not a flight attendant. She's not crew. She's just a stranger walking toward him while his baby screams and the world watches. And she opens her mouth to speak. What do you think she's about to say? Have you ever been in a situation where a stranger's help felt like the only lifeline? Drop a comment and let me know. Can I hold her? The question lands between them like something fragile and impossible. Ethan stares at the woman. His arms tighten instinctively around Maribel, whose screams haven't stopped, haven't even paused for breath. The stranger's eyes are dark and patient. Waiting for an answer Ethan doesn't know how to give. What? Your baby, the woman says, her voice cutting through the noise without rising above it. Can I hold her? Every instinct in Ethan's body screams, no, stranger, plain, trust, risk. The words tangle in his throat, but Maribel's cries are shredding him from the inside out, and the flight attendant is 3 rows back pretending not to watch, and the man in front just sighed again, like Ethan's existence is a personal insult. Ethan starts, but the woman is already lowering herself into the empty seat beside him. The middle seat, the one he paid extra to keep vacant so Maribel would have space, so he would have space. She smells like lavender and something warm, something that doesn't belong in the sterile cold of a plane cabin. Her hands rest on her knees, open, not reaching, not demanding. My name's Rowena, she says, and I've been where you are. Ethan's breath stutters. I do. Her voice is firm but not unkind. I know that look, the one that says you're 3 seconds from breaking and nobody's allowed to see it. Maribel wails louder, and Ethan bounces her again, his shoulder aching from the repetition. Sweat sticks his shirt to his back. His vision swims. Rowena doesn't move, doesn't judge, just waits. And then the man in front turns around again. Are you kidding me right now? His voice is sharp enough to cut. This is unacceptable. I paid for this seat. I have a meeting in San Francisco and I can't hear myself think. Ethan's face burns. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't help. The man's eyes flick to Rowena, then back to Ethan. Maybe if you can't handle a baby on a plane, you shouldn't be flying. The words hit like a fist. Ethan's mouth opens, but nothing comes out. His hands shake harder. Maribel's cries pitch into something frantic, desperate, and he feels it in his bones. The failure, the shame, the proof that maybe the man is right. Maybe he can't handle this. Maybe he was never supposed to. Rowena's voice slices through the moment, calm and cold as steel. Maybe if you can't handle compassion, you shouldn't be human. The man's face flushes red. Excuse me? You heard me? Rowena doesn't raise her voice, doesn't need to. That man is doing his best with a baby who's scared and exhausted. You're doing your best to make him feel worse. Which one of you sounds like the problem? The cabin goes quiet, except for Maribel's sobs. The man's jaw works. He looks around, maybe for support. But the passengers nearby suddenly find their phones very interesting. The businessman across the aisle pretends to adjust his headphones. The teenager 2 rows back scrolls faster. Nobody backs him up. The man's mouth twists. Unbelievable, he mutters, turning back around with enough force to make his seat creak. Ethan's lungs remember how to work. He pulls in air, shaky and uneven, and looks at Rowena like she just stepped between him and a moving train. You didn't have to. Yes, I did. Rowena's eyes find his, and there's something in them that Ethan recognizes. Exhaustion, survival, the kind of strength that only comes from being broken and deciding to stand up anyway. Now, are you going to let me help, or are we going to sit here pretending you're fine? Maribel's face is soaked with tears. Her tiny body trembles against Ethan's chest. He's out of options, out of pride, out of everything except the crushing weight of knowing he's failing the one person who needs him most. His voice cracks. I don't know if... You don't have to know, Rowena says. You just have to let go. And maybe it's the desperation. Maybe it's the way Rowena's hands are steady when his aren't. Maybe it's the fact that she stood up for him when nobody else did. But Ethan finds himself loosening his grip, shifting Maribel's weight, passing his daughter, his entire world, into the arms of a stranger on a plane. Rowena takes her gently, carefully, like she's done this 1,000 times, like she knows exactly how much a 6-month-old weighs, how their heads need support, how their spines curve. Maribel's cries stutter, then stop. Just stop. The silence is so sudden it feels wrong. Ethan's ears ring with the absence of sound. Passengers shift, confused, like someone hit pause on a movie they'd resigned themselves to suffering through. Rowena cradles Maribel against her shoulder, one hand supporting her head, the other rubbing slow circles on her back. She hums something low and rhythmic, not quite a song, more like a heartbeat made audible. Maribel's eyes blink open, glassy and exhausted. Her little fists uncurl. Her breathing evens out. She doesn't cry. Ethan stares. His throat tightens. His chest aches. Relief crashes into him so hard it feels like grief. How did you... She wasn't crying because of the plane, Rowena says quietly, still rocking Maribel. She was crying because you were terrified. Babies feel everything you feel. They just can't tell you with words. Ethan's hands are empty now. They hover uselessly in the air before dropping to his lap. He doesn't know what to do with them. Doesn't know what to do with himself. I didn't mean to. I know. Rowena glances at him, her expression soft. You're doing the best you can. That's more than most people manage. Maribel's eyes drift closed. Her breathing deepens. She looks peaceful in a way Ethan hasn't seen in days, maybe weeks. He swallows hard. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, Rowena says. You've still got 2.5 hours left on this flight. A laugh bubbles up in Ethan's chest, unexpected and broken. It sounds more like a sob. The flight attendant walks past again. This time she smiles, a real one. The businessman across the aisle peeks over, then quickly looks away. The teenager in 19B leans forward, watching with something that might be respect. And the man in front? He doesn't turn around. Ethan leans back in his seat, the tension in his shoulders unwinding inch by inch. For the first time since boarding, he can breathe without feeling like the walls are closing in. Rowena adjusts Maribel slightly, keeping her snug and warm. What's her name? Maribel. Beautiful. Rowena's thumb strokes Maribel's tiny hand. And you? Ethan. Ethan. She nods like she's filing it away. How long have you been doing this alone? The question is gentle, but it still cuts. Ethan's eyes burn. He looks out the window at the clouds rushing past, endless and indifferent. 6 months. Rowena doesn't push, doesn't ask for details, just hums again, and Maribel sighs in her sleep. The cabin hum fills the silence. The plane tilts slightly as it adjusts altitude. The overhead lights flicker once, then steady. Ethan watches Rowena hold his daughter like it's the most natural thing in the world, and something inside him, something sharp and jagged that's been cutting him open since the day his wife died, shifts, not healed, but softer. Rowena glances at him. You want to know something? Ethan nods. You're stronger than you think. His throat closes, he shakes his head. I don't feel strong. Nobody does, Rowena says. That's how you know it's real. Maribel stirs slightly, her face scrunching before relaxing again. Rowena adjusts her hold without breaking rhythm, and then Rowena says something that makes Ethan's blood run cold. I didn't sit here by accident. Ethan blinks. What? Rowena's eyes stay on Maribel. Her voice stays calm. But there's something underneath it now, something deliberate. I chose this flight, this seat, this row. Ethan's pulse picks up. I don't understand. Rowena finally looks at him. Her gaze is steady, unflinching. I know exactly what it's like to be you, Ethan, and I promised myself a long time ago that I'd never let another parent go through it alone. The words hang in the air. Ethan's mind races. Questions pile up faster than he can sort them, but before he can ask a single one, Rowena smiles. We'll talk more when she wakes up. And she turns her attention back to Maribel, humming again, leaving Ethan with nothing but the weight of her words and the terrifying realization that this stranger knows more about him than she should. The flight attendant stops at the end of their row. She doesn't say anything at first, just stands there with her hands clasped in front of her, that professional smile stretched across her face like plastic wrap. Her eyes sweep over Ethan, then Rowena, then Maribel, sleeping peacefully in Rowena's arms. Everything okay here? The question sounds polite. It isn't. Ethan sits up straighter. Yes, everything's fine now. The attendant's gaze lingers on Maribel. That's good to hear. We appreciate you keeping the cabin environment comfortable for everyone. There it is. The unspoken warning wrapped in courtesy. Don't let it happen again. Ethan nods quickly. Of course. Thank you. The attendant walks away, her heels clicking against the aisle floor. Ethan's shoulders stay tight until she disappears behind the curtain separating coach from first class. Rowena's voice is low. She was 2 minutes from asking you to leave. Ethan's stomach drops. You think so? I know so. Rowena shifts Maribel slightly, her hand still moving in slow circles on the baby's back. I've seen it happen before. Parent gets overwhelmed. Baby won't stop crying. Crew gets complaints. Next thing you know, they're making an emergency stop to remove a disruptive passenger. Ethan's hands curl into fists on his lap. That's not fair. No, Rowena agrees. It's not. The man in front shifts in his seat. Ethan sees his shoulders move, hears the faint rustle of fabric. He's still awake, still listening, still judging. Ethan leans closer to Rowena, his voice barely above a whisper. Why did you help me? Rowena's eyes stay on Maribel. For a long moment she doesn't answer. Then she speaks, and her voice carries a weight that makes Ethan's chest tighten. Because 7 years ago, I was on a flight just like this one. My son was 3 months old, screaming. I was alone. My husband had left 2 weeks earlier, just packed a bag and walked out while I was grocery shopping. No note, no explanation. Just gone. Ethan's breath catches. I was flying to my mother's house because I had nowhere else to go. No job, no money, just a baby and a suitcase. Rowena's jaw tightens. And my son wouldn't stop crying. I tried everything, feeding, changing, rocking. Nothing worked. And the people on that plane... She pauses, her voice hardening. They looked at me like I was garbage, like I was ruining their day on purpose. Maribel stirs slightly but doesn't wake. Rowena adjusts her hold automatically, like breathing. A man sitting next to me told the flight attendant I should be removed, said I was clearly unfit to travel with a child. The attendant came over, and I could see it in her eyes. She was considering it. I begged. I apologized. I promised he'd calm down. Ethan's throat burns. What happened? Rowena's lips curve into something too sad to be a smile. An older woman 3 rows back stood up, walked over, took my son from my arms without asking, and he stopped crying. Just like that. The cabin hum fills the silence between them. She didn't say much, just held him for 20 minutes while I cried into my hands, and before she gave him back, she told me something I never forgot. What? Ethan's voice is rough. She said, you're not alone, you just haven't found your people yet. Ethan's eyes sting. He blinks hard. Staring at the seat back in front of him, Rowena finally looks at him. So when I saw you back there, falling apart while everyone watched, I saw myself, and I made a choice. To help. To refuse to be like them. Rowena nods toward the passengers around them, the ones pretending to sleep, the ones scrolling their phones, the man in front who still hasn't turned around. The world's full of people who see someone struggling and look away. I decided a long time ago I wouldn't be one of them. Ethan's chest aches. I don't know how to thank you. You don't have to. Rowena's voice softens. Just promise me something. Anything. When you see someone else drowning, you throw them a rope. Ethan nods, his throat too tight to speak. Maribel's face scrunches, her tiny mouth opening in a yawn. Her eyes blink open slowly. Unfocused and glassy. She looks around, confused, then locks onto Rowena's face and smiles. It's small, barely there, but real. Rowena's expression melts. Hey, sweet girl, you feeling better? Maribel's little hand reaches up, fingers closing around the edge of Rowena's scarf. She tugs gently, her eyes wide and curious. Ethan watches, something breaking open inside him. She never does that with strangers. Maybe she knows I'm not a stranger. Rowena's thumb brushes Maribel's cheek. Maybe she knows I'm safe. The businessman across the aisle glances over again. This time he doesn't look away. He watches Rowena with Maribel, and something shifts in his expression, softens. He meets Ethan's eyes briefly, then nods, a small, almost imperceptible acknowledgement. I see you. Ethan nods back. The teenager in 19B leans forward, her phone forgotten in her lap. Your baby's really cute, she says quietly. Ethan turns, surprised. Thank you. The girl hesitates, then adds, My mom raised me alone too. I know it's hard. The words land like a gift. Ethan's voice cracks. Yeah, it is. The girl smiles, then goes back to her phone, but the air feels different now, less hostile, less suffocating. Rowena passes Maribel back to Ethan, her movements careful and practiced. She's ready for you now. Ethan takes his daughter, and this time Maribel doesn't cry. She settles into his arms with a soft sigh, her head resting against his chest. Her tiny fist curls around his shirt. He looks down at her, and the love is so sharp it hurts. Rowena leans back in the middle seat, closing her eyes. You're doing fine, Ethan. Better than fine. I don't feel like it. That's because you're doing it alone. Rowena's eyes open, pinning him with a look that cuts through every excuse he's ever made. But you don't have to. Ethan frowns. What do you mean? Rowena pulls a small card from her pocket. It's plain white, with a phone number written in neat handwriting. She hands it to him. That's my number. And on the back is the contact info for a support group I help run in Oakland. Single parents, people who get it, people who won't judge you for struggling. Ethan stares at the card like it might disappear. I'm moving to Oakland. I know. His head snaps up. How? You told the flight attendant when you boarded. I was 2 rows behind you. Rowena's smile is small but genuine. I told you, Ethan. I didn't sit here by accident. The words settle over him like a blanket and a stone at the same time, comfort and weight. Why? His voice is barely audible. Why go out of your way for me? Rowena's expression shifts, and for the first time, Ethan sees the cracks beneath her calm, the exhaustion, the scars. Because nobody did it for me when I needed it most. And I spent years wishing someone had. She looks away, her jaw tight. I can't go back and fix my past, but I can make sure someone else's present is a little less lonely. Ethan's vision blurs. He clutches the card in his hand, the paper bending under his grip. Thank you, he whispers. Rowena reaches over and squeezes his shoulder once, brief, firm, a lifeline. You're going to be okay, Ethan, you and Maribel both. The plane tilts slightly, adjusting course. The overhead speakers crackle. Ladies and gentlemen, we're beginning our descent into Oakland. Please return your seats to the upright position and ensure your tray tables are stowed. Ethan's heart jumps. Already? The flight that felt endless 20 minutes ago suddenly feels too short. He looks at Rowena. What happens now? She buckles her seatbelt, her movements calm and methodical. Now you land. You start your new job. You find your rhythm. And the support group? Call me when you're ready. Rowena glances at him. Or don't. But you'll have the number either way. Maribel yawns again, her eyes drifting closed. Ethan holds her closer, feeling the warmth of her small body against his chest. The plane descends through the clouds. The cabin lights dim. Outside the window, the California coastline comes into view, golden hills, sprawling cities, the glittering bay. A new start, a second chance. Ethan takes a breath, and then the man in front turns around. His face is red. His eyes are hard. "I hope you know," the man says, his voice tight with barely restrained anger, "that you made this flight unbearable for everyone around you." Ethan's stomach drops. The man's gaze flicks to Rowena. "And you," defending him like he's some kind of hero. He's just another irresponsible parent who doesn't know how to control his kid. The words hang in the air, venomous and cold. Rowena's expression doesn't change. She looks at the man for a long moment, then speaks quietly. "What's your name?" The man blinks. "What?" "Your name. What is it?" He hesitates. "Marcus." "Marcus." Rowena nods slowly. "Do you have kids?" His jaw tightens. "That's none of your business." "I'll take that as a no." Rowena leans forward slightly, her voice still calm but edged with steel. "So let me tell you something, Marcus. That man you just insulted, he's doing something you've never had to do. He's raising a child alone. He's grieving. He's terrified, and he's still showing up." Marcus's face darkens. "That doesn't give him the right." "It gives him every right," Rowena's voice cuts through his. "Because he's trying, and you're just angry that his pain inconvenienced you for 30 minutes. The cabin goes silent. Marcus stares at her, his mouth opening and closing like a fish. Then he turns back around without another word. Ethan's hands shake. His pulse pounds in his ears. Rowena settles back into her seat. "Some people," she says quietly, "will never understand, and that's okay. You don't need their approval." The plane touches down with a jolt. The engines roar as the brakes engage. Passengers clap half-heartedly. Ethan looks down at Maribel, still sleeping peacefully in his arms, and he realizes something. For the first time in 6 months, he doesn't feel completely alone. But as the plane taxis toward the gate, Rowena leans close one more time. "Ethan," she says, her voice barely audible over the engine noise, "there's something I need to tell you about why I really chose this flight." Ethan's heart stutters. "What do you mean?" Rowena's eyes are steady, serious. "I didn't just happen to see you struggling. I've been looking for you." The plane stops. The seatbelt sign dings off, and Ethan's world tilts. "What?" Rowena stands, pulling her bag from the overhead compartment. She looks down at him, and her expression is unreadable. "I'll explain everything, but not here." She nods toward the exit. "Meet me at baggage claim, gate 3. Don't leave without me." And before Ethan can respond, before he can ask what the hell she means, Rowena is gone, disappearing into the stream of passengers filing toward the exit, leaving Ethan frozen in his seat, holding his daughter, and a card with a phone number that suddenly feels like a threat. Ethan's legs don't work right when he stands. His knees wobble as he pulls the diaper bag from under the seat, Maribel still cradled in one arm. The other passengers shuffle past him in a tired stream, briefcases, backpacks, the hollow-eyed exhaustion of people who just want to be home. Nobody looks at him now. Nobody cares. He steps into the aisle, his mind racing faster than his feet can move. "I've been looking for you." The words loop in his head like a song he can't shut off. What does that even mean? How did Rowena know he'd be on this flight? How did she know anything about him? His hands shake as he adjusts Maribel's weight. She's still asleep, her breath warm against his neck, oblivious to the fact that the stranger who just saved them might be something else entirely. The jetway smells like recycled air and floor cleaner. Ethan's footsteps echo as he walks, slower than everyone else, his mind tangled in questions he doesn't have answers for. Gate 3, baggage claim. Don't leave without me. He should run, should grab his suitcase and disappear into the Oakland streets before whatever this is gets worse. But his feet keep moving toward baggage claim anyway, pulled by something he can't name. Curiosity. Desperation. The terrifying possibility that Rowena might actually have answers to questions he didn't know he was asking. The airport opens up around him. Bright lights, electronic boards flashing arrivals and departures, the hum of 1,000 people trying to get somewhere else. Ethan weaves through the crowd, scanning faces, looking for her. She's not there. He stops near Carousel 3, the conveyor belt already groaning to life, suitcases tumbling onto the track like debris. His pulse hammers. Maybe she left. Maybe this was all some kind of test or joke or... Ethan! He spins. Rowena stands 10 feet away, her bag slung over one shoulder, her face calm, but her eyes sharp. She's watching him the way you watch something fragile that might break if you move too fast. "I wasn't sure you'd come," she says. Ethan's voice comes out rougher than he means it to. "You didn't give me much choice." Rowena's lips twitch, almost a smile. "Fair." "What did you mean?" Ethan steps closer, Maribel stirring slightly against his chest. "On the plane, you said you've been looking for me. How is that even possible? I didn't know I was taking this flight until 3 days ago." Rowena glances around the baggage claim area, families reuniting, businessmen checking phones, a couple arguing near the exit. Then she looks back at Ethan. "Not here," she says. "Follow me." She turns and starts walking toward the far end of the terminal, past the rental car desks, past the bathrooms, toward a quieter section where the lights are dimmer and the crowd thins out. Ethan hesitates. Every logical part of his brain screams at him to stop, to turn around, to call someone, though who he doesn't know. He doesn't have anyone, but he follows anyway. They stop near a row of plastic chairs bolted to the floor. Rowena sits, setting her bag beside her. She gestures to the seat across from her. "Sit." Ethan sits. Maribel shifts in his arms, her tiny hand curling tighter around his shirt. Rowena leans forward, elbows on her knees, her expression serious. "I'm going to tell you something, and I need you to listen without interrupting. Can you do that?" Ethan's throat tightens. He nods. Rowena takes a breath. 3 weeks ago, I got a call from a lawyer in New Jersey, a woman named Patricia Langston. She told me she was handling the estate of a client who'd recently passed away. Ethan's stomach drops. The client's name, Rowena continues, her voice steady, was Diane Crosswell. The world tilts. Ethan's mouth opens, but no sound comes out. His wife's name hangs in the air between them like smoke. Rowena's eyes soften. "Diane was your wife, wasn't she?" Ethan can't breathe, can't think. His hands shake so hard he has to tighten his grip on Maribel to keep from dropping her. "How?" His voice cracks. "How do you know that?" "Because Diane hired Patricia 6 months before she died. She set up a trust, made arrangements, left instructions." Rowena reaches into her bag and pulls out a manila envelope. She sets it on the chair between them. "And she named me as the executor of one very specific request." Ethan stares at the envelope like it's a bomb. "What request?" Rowena's jaw tightens. "To find you. To make sure you and Maribel were okay, and to deliver this." She pushes the envelope toward him. Ethan doesn't move. His heart slams against his ribs so hard it hurts. "I don't understand," he whispers. "Diane didn't know you. She never mentioned." "She didn't know me," Rowena agrees. "But she knew what I do. She found me through a support group I ran in Newark, single parents helping other single parents. She reached out 6 months before she died, asking if I'd be willing to help someone if the time came." Ethan's vision blurs. She knew she was going to die? Rowena's expression shifts. Sadness and something heavier. The autopsy said it was sudden, a brain aneurysm, no warning. She pauses. But Diane was careful. She planned for worst-case scenarios, and one of those scenarios was you raising Maribel alone. The words hit like a punch. Ethan's hands tremble. "She thought I couldn't do it." "No." Rowena's voice is firm. "She thought you'd try to do it alone, and she didn't want you to." Tears burn Ethan's eyes. He blinks hard, but they spill over anyway, hot and relentless. Rowena leans back, giving him space. "Patricia called me 3 weeks ago, told me you'd lost your job, that you were relocating to Oakland for a new start. She gave me your flight information." Ethan's head snaps up. "You've been following me? I've been watching out for you." Rowena's tone doesn't waver. "There's a difference." "Is there?" Ethan's voice rises, anger cutting through the grief. "You manipulated me. You sat next to me on purpose. You acted like—" "I acted like someone who cared." Rowena's eyes flash. "Because I do. Not because I was paid to. Not because it's some kind of obligation. But because your wife asked me to make sure you didn't fall apart." And from where I'm sitting, you were about 5 minutes from doing exactly that. The anger drains out of Ethan as fast as it came, leaving only exhaustion behind. He looks down at Maribel. Her face is peaceful, her breathing slow and even. She has no idea her mother planned for this, no idea that even in death, Diane was still trying to protect them. Ethan's voice breaks. What's in the envelope? Rowena stands, picking up her bag. I don't know. Diane sealed it herself. Patricia gave it to me with instructions to give it to you when the time was right. And you think now is the right time? I think, Rowena says quietly, that you've been carrying this alone long enough. She walks toward the exit, then pauses, looking back over her shoulder. Open it when you're ready, Ethan, not before. Her expression softens. And call me if you need to talk. The number on that card, it's real. So is the offer. Ethan watches her go, disappearing into the crowd like she was never there. He sits alone in the plastic chair, holding his daughter in a sealed envelope that weighs more than it should. His hands shake as he picks it up. The paper is thick, expensive. His name is written on the front in handwriting he'd recognize anywhere, Diane's. His breath hitches, his chest aches. He presses the envelope against his forehead and closes his eyes. I miss you, he whispers. God, I miss you so much. Maribel stirs, her tiny hand reaching up to touch his face. Her eyes blink open, sleepy and unfocused. She looks at him, and for just a second, Ethan swears he sees Diane in her. Same eyes, same curve of the mouth. His heart breaks all over again. He tucks the envelope into the diaper bag. Not yet. He can't open it yet. Instead, he stands, adjusting Maribel in his arms, and heads toward the exit. The California sun is brutal and bright when he steps outside. The air smells like exhaust and ocean salt. Taxis line the curb, horns honking, drivers shouting. Ethan pulls out his phone and opens the rideshare app. His new apartment is 20 minutes away. His new job starts Monday. His new life is waiting. But as he climbs into the back seat of the car, Maribel asleep against his chest, the envelope heavy in his bag, one thought loops endlessly in his mind. Diane knew. She knew he'd struggle, knew he'd be terrified, knew he'd try to do it alone, and she loved him enough to make sure he wouldn't have to. The car pulls away from the curb, merging into traffic. Ethan watches the airport shrink in the rearview mirror, and then his phone buzzes, a text from an unknown number. He opens it. You're stronger than you think, Ethan, but strength doesn't mean silence. Open the envelope when you're ready to stop carrying this alone. Rowena. Ethan stares at the message, then another one comes through. This one's a photo. He clicks it, and his blood runs cold. It's a picture of Diane, but not one he's ever seen before. She's sitting in a coffee shop, smiling at the camera, and across the table from her, just barely visible in the frame, is Rowena. Ethan's hands go numb. The timestamp on the photo reads 6 months before Diane died. His wife didn't just hire Rowena, she knew her. The car stops at a red light. The driver asks if the address is correct. Ethan can't answer, can't breathe. Because if Diane knew Rowena 6 months before she died, then what else was she hiding? And what's really in that envelope? The apartment smells like old paint and someone else's life. Ethan stands in the doorway, Maribel asleep in the carrier strapped to his chest, his suitcase abandoned somewhere behind him. The landlord handed him the keys 20 minutes ago with a half smile and a warning about the water pressure. Now he's alone in a space that feels too empty and too small at the same time. 1 bedroom, kitchenette, a window overlooking a parking lot where streetlights flicker like dying stars. Home. The word doesn't fit yet. Ethan sets the diaper bag on the counter, and the envelope inside shifts with a papery whisper that makes his stomach clench. He hasn't opened it. Hasn't looked at it since the text message that turned his world sideways. The photo of Diane and Rowena sitting across from each other in a coffee shop loops in his mind on repeat. His wife's smile, Rowena's calm expression, the timestamp that proves they knew each other months before Diane died. Why didn't she tell me? Maribel shifts against his chest, her tiny fist curling around the fabric of his shirt. Ethan places a hand on her back, feeling the rise and fall of her breathing. Steady, innocent, unaware that the mother she'll never remember was keeping secrets. His phone buzzes. He pulls it from his pocket, half expecting another message from Rowena, another bomb disguised as kindness, but it's not her, it's his new boss, a reminder that orientation starts Monday at 8. Dress code is business casual, don't be late. Ethan exhales slowly and sets the phone down. Monday, 2 days away, 2 days to figure out how to be a functioning human being when everything inside him is unraveling. He unstraps Maribel carefully and lays her in the portable crib he set up in the corner. She doesn't wake, just sighs softly and curls onto her side, her little hands tucked under her chin. Ethan watches her for a long moment. Then he turns to the diaper bag. The envelope sits on top, Diane's handwriting stark against the cream-colored paper. He reaches for it, his fingers trembling, but stops halfway. Open it when you're ready to stop carrying this alone. Rowena's words echo in his head. But what if he's not ready? What if he never is? What if the truth inside that envelope is worse than not knowing? His hand drops. Not tonight. Instead, he pulls out his phone and opens the photo again. Zooms in, studies every detail. Diane's wearing the blue sweater he bought her for Christmas 2 years ago. Her hair is pulled back in a loose bun. There's a coffee cup in front of her, black, no sugar, the way she always drank it. And Rowena. She looks exactly the same as she did on the plane. Same calm expression, same steady eyes. But there's something else in the photo, something in the way she's leaning forward slightly, like she's listening hard, like whatever Diane is saying matters. Ethan's chest tightens. He scrolls through his contacts until he finds the number Rowena gave him. His thumb hovers over the call button. Then he presses it. The phone rings once, twice. Ethan? Rowena's voice is calm, unsurprised, like she was waiting for this. You lied to me. His voice is low, controlled, but anger simmers underneath. A pause. Then, no, I didn't. You said Diane found you through a support group, that she reached out 6 months before she died. That's true. But the photo, Ethan's voice cracks. You were sitting across from her. You knew her. You weren't just some stranger she hired. Rowena sighs and it sounds tired. I never said I didn't know her, Ethan. I said she found me through the support group. Both things are true. That's a hell of a technicality. It's the truth. Rowena's tone sharpens. And if you want the whole truth, you need to open the envelope. Ethan's jaw clenches. Why can't you just tell me? Because it's not my story to tell. Her voice softens. It's hers. And she wanted you to hear it from her. Silence stretches between them, heavy and suffocating. Did she know? Ethan's voice drops to a whisper. Did she know she was going to die? Another pause, longer this time. No, Rowena says finally, but she knew life was fragile, and she wanted to make sure you'd be okay if something happened. Ethan's eyes burn. I'm not okay. I know. Rowena's voice is gentle now. But you're still standing. That counts for something. Ethan looks over at Maribel, still sleeping peacefully. I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this. Then stop doing it alone. Rowena's words are firm but not unkind. The support group meets Thursday nights, 7 p.m. at the community center on 5th Street. Show up, don't show up, but know that the option is there. Ethan swallows hard. What if I open the envelope and I hate what's inside? Then you'll hate it, Rowena says simply. But at least you'll know, and knowing is better than drowning in questions. The line goes quiet for a moment. Then Rowena speaks again, softer this time. Diane loved you, Ethan. Whatever's in that letter, it came from that love. Trust it. She hangs up before he can respond. Ethan stares at his phone, then at the envelope on the counter. His hands shake as he picks it up. The seal is still intact. The paper is smooth and cool under his fingers. He sits down on the floor, his back against the wall, and turns the envelope over in his hands. Do it. Just rip it open and get it over with. But his hands won't cooperate. Instead, he sets it on the floor beside him and drops his head into his hands. The apartment is silent except for Maribel's soft breathing and the hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. Ethan's mind drifts. Back to the hospital. The sterile smell, the fluorescent lights, the doctor's voice, calm and clinical, explaining that Diane's brain aneurysm had been sudden, catastrophic. There was nothing they could have done. He remembers the way his legs gave out, the way the floor rushed up to meet him, the way the nurse caught him before he hit the ground. He remembers holding Maribel for the first time after Diane died, the way she looked up at him with those wide, trusting eyes, the way his heart shattered and stitched itself back together in the same breath. I can't do this without you. But he'd been doing it. 6 months of stumbling through darkness, pretending he had a plan, pretending he wasn't terrified every single second. And Diane had known. Somehow, she'd known. Ethan picks up the envelope again. This time his hands are steadier. He slides his finger under the seal and tears it open slowly, carefully, like he's defusing a bomb. Inside, there's a single folded piece of paper. He pulls it out. Diane's handwriting fills the page, small, neat, achingly familiar. Ethan's vision blurs, but he blinks the tears back and starts to read. Ethan, if you're reading this, then I'm gone. And I'm so, so sorry. I don't know when it will happen. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe 50 years from now. But I've been thinking a lot lately about what would happen to you and Maribel if I wasn't there. And the thought of you trying to do this alone, it breaks my heart. You're the strongest person I know, but strength doesn't mean you have to carry everything by yourself. I met Rowena 3 months ago at a support group I attended after my mom died. She helped me process grief in a way I didn't think was possible. And when I told her about my fears, about leaving you and Maribel, she offered to help, not because I paid her, not because she owed me anything, but because she knows what it's like to be alone and scared, and she didn't want that for you. I asked her to find you if something ever happened to me, to make sure you weren't drowning, to remind you that asking for help isn't weakness, it's survival. Ethan, I need you to do something for me. I need you to let people in. I know it's hard. I know you've spent your whole life believing you have to be strong enough to handle everything on your own. But Maribel needs more than strength. She needs a father who's present, who's whole, who's not breaking under the weight of trying to be perfect. Rowena can help you find that. The support group can help, but only if you let them. Please, Ethan, let them. I love you. I've always loved you, and I'm so proud of the father you're going to be. Tell Maribel about me. Tell her I loved her more than anything in the world, and tell her that her daddy is a hero, even if he doesn't believe it yet. All my love, Diane. The letter slips from Ethan's fingers. He presses his palms against his eyes, but the tears come anyway, hot, relentless, ripping through him like a storm he can't control. He cries for Diane, for the life they were supposed to have, for the fact that she loved him enough to plan for a future she wouldn't be part of. He cries until his chest aches and his throat is raw. And then slowly the storm passes. Ethan picks up the letter again, reading it a second time. A third. Let people in. His phone buzzes. A reminder notification. Support group meeting, Thursday, 7 p.m., 5th Street Community Center. Ethan stares at it. Then he opens his calendar and marks it. Attending. He stands, his legs shaky, and walks over to Maribel's crib. She's still asleep, one tiny hand resting against her cheek. Ethan leans down and kisses her forehead. Your mom, he whispers, was the smartest person I've ever known. Maribel's eyes flutter, but don't open. Ethan straightens, wiping his face with the back of his hand. For the first time in 6 months, the weight on his chest feels a little lighter. Not gone, but lighter. He picks up his phone and sends a text to Rowena. Thank you for everything. I'll see you Thursday. The reply comes almost immediately. I'll save you a seat. Ethan sets the phone down and looks around the apartment. It still smells like old paint, still feels too empty, but maybe that's okay. Maybe empty means there's room to build something new. He's about to sit down when his phone buzzes again. Not a text this time. A call. Unknown number. Ethan frowns and answers. Hello? A woman's voice, professional, clipped. Is this Ethan Crosswell? Yeah, who's this? My name is Patricia Langston. I'm the attorney handling your late wife's estate. Ethan's stomach drops. I already got the letter. This isn't about the letter. Patricia's tone shifts. This is about the second provision in your wife's will, the one she sealed separately. Ethan's pulse spikes. What second provision? It's time-sensitive, Mr. Crosswell. I need you to come to my office tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Can you be there? What is this about? Patricia hesitates. Then she says 4 words that make Ethan's blood run cold. Your wife had a sister. The line goes silent. Ethan's mind reels. That's impossible. Diane was an only child. No, Mr. Crosswell. Patricia's voice is quiet but firm. She wasn't. The call ends. Ethan stands frozen, the phone still pressed to his ear, his heart pounding so hard he can hear it. Diane had a sister she never mentioned, a sister Ethan didn't know existed, and whatever that secret is, it's about to tear his world apart all over again. What is Diane hiding? Who is this sister, and why did Diane keep her a secret? Comment your wildest theories below, because this is about to get deep. If you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that button, turn on notifications. This story is just getting started. And you do not want to miss what happens when Ethan walks into that lawyer's office. Share this with someone who loves a story that punches you in the heart and won't let go. Let's keep this going. Your support matters. Drop a comment. Me know you're still here. The lawyer's office smells like leather and old money. Ethan sits in a chair that's too stiff to be comfortable. Maribel strapped to his chest in the baby carrier, her tiny fingers wrapped around the edge of his collar. The receptionist offered coffee 15 minutes ago. He said no. His stomach's already twisted tight enough without adding caffeine to the mix. Patricia Langston's door is closed. Ethan can hear muffled voices on the other side, hers and someone else's. A woman's voice, low, tense. He checks his phone for the 8th time. 8:47. He's early. Too early. But sitting in his empty apartment this morning felt like drowning, so he left. Maribel babbles softly, reaching for his face. Ethan catches her hand gently, kissing her tiny knuckles. "We're okay, baby girl," he whispers. "We're okay." He's not sure who he's trying to convince. The door opens. Patricia steps out first. "But, podcast." A woman in her 50s, sharp suit, sharper eyes. She looks at Ethan and nods once. "Mr. Crosswell, thank you for coming." Ethan stands, adjusting Maribel's weight. "You didn't give me much choice." Patricia's lips twitch. Almost a smile. "No, I suppose I didn't." She steps aside, and that's when Ethan sees her. The woman standing in the doorway. She's tall, early 30s, dark skin, natural hair twisted into locks that fall past her shoulders. She's wearing jeans and a faded denim jacket, her hands shoved deep into her pockets like she's trying to hold herself together. And her eyes. Ethan's breath catches. Her eyes are the exact same shade as Diane's. The woman stares at him, her jaw tight, her expression unreadable. Patricia gestures toward the office. "Please, come in." Ethan's legs move on autopilot. He walks into the office, the woman following behind him, and the door clicks shut with a finality that makes his skin crawl. Patricia sits behind her desk. Ethan takes the chair across from her. The woman sits in the chair beside him, close enough that he can feel the tension radiating off her like heat. Nobody speaks. Maribel breaks the silence with a soft coo, reaching toward the woman. The woman's eyes flick down to the baby, and something in her expression cracks. Just for a second, then it hardens again. Patricia folds her hands on the desk. "Mr. Crosswell, this is Camilla Bennett. She's Diane's younger sister." Ethan's mouth goes dry. He turns to look at Camilla, searching her face for answers, but she won't meet his eyes. "I don't understand," Ethan says, his voice rough. "Diane never mentioned a sister. She told me she was an only child." Camilla's jaw clenches. "She told you a lot of things that weren't true." The words land like a slap. Ethan's hands tighten on the arms of the chair. "What's that supposed to mean?" Camilla finally looks at him, and there's anger in her eyes, raw and sharp. "It means my sister spent her whole life rewriting her past, pretending I didn't exist, pretending our family didn't exist." "That's not," Ethan starts, but Patricia raises a hand. "Let me explain." Patricia opens a folder on her desk and pulls out a document. Diane's will includes a second provision that was sealed until certain conditions were met. One of those conditions was your relocation to California. Ethan blinks. "She knew I'd move here?" "She hoped you would." Patricia slides the document across the desk. Diane set up a trust fund for Maribel, significant, enough to cover her education, living expenses, and more. But there's a stipulation. Ethan's stomach drops. "What stipulation?" Patricia glances at Camilla, then back at Ethan. "The trust can only be accessed if Camilla Bennett is granted partial guardianship of Maribel." The room goes silent. Ethan's brain short-circuits. "Partial guardianship? You mean Shared custody, Camila says flatly. Your wife wanted me in Maribel's life, whether you like it or not. Ethan stands so fast the chair scrapes against the floor. Maribel startles, whimpering, and he rocks her automatically, his mind racing. This is insane. I don't even know you. Diane never. Why would she? He turns to Patricia. This can't be legal. It's entirely legal, Patricia says calmly. Diane was very specific. She wanted Maribel to know her family, her full family, and she believed that you and Camila working together was the best way to ensure that. Ethan's hands shake. So what? If I say no, Maribel loses everything? The trust remains inaccessible, Patricia confirms. You'd still have full custody, but the financial support Diane arranged, scholarships, medical coverage, savings, all of it stays locked. Ethan's vision blurs. He looks at Camila, who's staring at the floor now. Her jaw so tight, it looks like it might crack. Why? Ethan's voice breaks. Why didn't she just tell me? Camila's laugh is bitter. Because she was ashamed. Of what? Camila stands, her eyes blazing. Of where she came from, of who we were, of the fact that our family wasn't perfect and polished like the life she built with you. Ethan shakes his head. I don't believe that. I don't care what you believe. Camila's voice is sharp, but there's pain underneath it. Diane cut me out of her life 10 years ago. Didn't invite me to her wedding, didn't tell me when she got pregnant. I found out my niece existed from a lawyer after my sister was already dead. The words hit Ethan like a freight train. Camila's voice cracks. So don't stand there and tell me she didn't lie to you. She lied to both of us. Ethan sinks back into the chair, his chest tight. Maribel whimpers again, and he presses a kiss to her head, trying to ground himself. Patricia clears her throat. Diane left a letter for both of you. Separate letters, actually. Camila received hers 2 weeks ago. Yours was in the envelope delivered by Rowena. Ethan's head snaps up. Rowena knew about this? Rowena facilitated the connection, Patricia says. She was the one who helped Diane locate Camila and begin the process of reconciliation before she died. Ethan's stomach turns. So everyone knew. Rowena, you, Camila, everyone except me. That's not fair, Camila says quietly. I didn't know about you either, not until 2 weeks ago. Ethan looks at her, really looks at her, and he sees it now. The resemblance, not just the eyes, the shape of her nose, the way she holds herself. The same stubborn set to her jaw that Diane had when she was upset. What did your letter say? Ethan asks. Camila hesitates. Then she reaches into her jacket and pulls out a folded piece of paper. She doesn't hand it to him, just unfolds it and reads aloud, her voice tight. Camila, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I walked away when I should have stayed. I chose pride over family, and I'll regret that for the rest of my life. But I'm asking you now, not for me, but for Maribel, to be the person I wasn't, to show up, to love her the way I should have loved you. Ethan is a good man, but he's going to need help, and Maribel deserves to know where she comes from. Please don't let my mistakes cost her a family. I love you. I'm sorry. Diane. Camila folds the letter and shoves it back into her pocket. Her eyes are red, but she doesn't cry. Ethan's throat burns. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. I believe you, Camila says quietly. Doesn't make it hurt less. Patricia stands. I'll give you both time to process this, but I need an answer within 30 days. If you agree to shared guardianship, we'll draft the legal documents. If not, the trust remains sealed and Maribel's future becomes significantly more complicated. Ethan looks down at his daughter. Her eyes are wide and curious, staring up at him like he has all the answers. He doesn't. Patricia walks to the door and opens it. I'll be in touch. Camila stands and heads for the exit without looking back. Ethan's voice stops her. Wait. She pauses in the doorway but doesn't turn around. Can we? Ethan's voice cracks. Can we at least talk? Figure this out? Camila's shoulders sag. For a long moment, she doesn't move. Then she pulls a business card from her pocket and sets it on the edge of Patricia's desk without turning around. Call me when you're ready to stop pretending this isn't real. She walks out. The door closes. Ethan sits alone in the office, holding Maribel, staring at the business card. Camila Bennett, Youth Outreach Coordinator, a phone number, an email address, and a choice he doesn't know how to make. Patricia's voice is gentle. For what it's worth, Mr. Crosswell, I think Diane knew what she was doing. Ethan looks up. How can you say that? She lied to me. She lied to Camila. She tore both our lives apart. No. Patricia shakes her head. She gave you both a chance to build something better than what she had. Whether you take it or not, that's up to you. Ethan stands, his legs unsteady. He picks up the business card and shoves it into his pocket. I need to go. Patricia nods. Take your time, but not too much. Ethan walks out of the office into the bright California morning, Maribel warm against his chest. His phone buzzes, a text from Rowena. How did it go? Ethan stares at the message, then he types back. You knew everything and you didn't tell me. The reply comes fast. Diane asked me not to, but I'm here if you want to talk. Ethan shoves the phone into his pocket and starts walking. He doesn't know where he's going, doesn't know what he's going to do. But as he walks, Maribel's hand curls around his finger, and he thinks about Diane's letter. Let people in. Maybe that includes people he didn't know existed. Maybe that includes the sister Diane left behind. Maybe that includes the family Maribel deserves to know. His phone buzzes again. Unknown number. He answers. Hello? A man's voice, deep, familiar in a way that makes Ethan's skin crawl. Ethan Crosswell? Yeah, who is this? My name is Marcus Bennett. I'm Camila's father. Ethan stops walking. What do you want? The voice on the other end is cold, measured. I want you to stay away from my daughter, and I want you to refuse that guardianship. Ethan's pulse spikes. Why would I do that? Because if you don't, Marcus says slowly, I'll make sure you lose everything. Your job, your apartment, your daughter. The line goes dead. Ethan stands frozen on the sidewalk, his heart pounding, Maribel babbling softly against his chest, and he realizes this isn't just about Diane's secrets anymore. This is about a family that doesn't want him, and a threat that just became very, very real. Ethan doesn't sleep that night. He lies on the floor of his apartment, Maribel asleep in her crib 3 feet away, staring at the ceiling while his mind runs loops he can't escape. The threat from Marcus Bennett plays on repeat, cold, deliberate, terrifying in its certainty. I'll make sure you lose everything. The words aren't empty. Ethan knows threats when he hears them. This wasn't anger, it was a promise. His phone sits on the floor beside him, Camila's business card propped against it. He's picked it up a dozen times in the last 6 hours, put it down a dozen times. He doesn't know what to do, doesn't know who to trust, doesn't know if Diane's plan to bring him and Camila together was brilliance or cruelty. At 4:30 in the morning, Ethan gives up on sleep. He makes coffee in the tiny kitchenette, the machine sputtering and hissing like it's angry at being used this early. Maribel wakes up 20 minutes later, and he feeds her, changes her, rocks her until she's calm and babbling softly in his arms. Normal. He clings to normal like a lifeline, but normal doesn't last. At 7:15, his phone rings. He expects Marcus, expects another threat, another warning, but the caller ID says Rowena Blake. Ethan hesitates, then answers. What do you want? Good morning to you too. Rowena's voice is calm, but there's something underneath it, concern. I heard about the meeting yesterday. From who? Patricia? Camila? Ethan's voice is sharper than he means it to be. Or maybe you were there the whole time, watching from the shadows like you seem to do. Rowena doesn't rise to the bait. I wasn't there, but Patricia called me last night. She's worried. About what? About you. Rowena pauses. And about Marcus. Ethan's grip tightens on the phone. You know him? I know of him. Rowena's tone shifts, and now there's an edge to it. And if he contacted you, you need to be very careful. He threatened me, Ethan says flatly. Told me to stay away from Camila and refuse the guardianship, or else. Rowena curses softly under her breath. That's exactly what I was afraid of. So you knew this was coming. I knew Marcus was a problem. I didn't know he'd go after you this fast. Ethan stands, pacing the small living room with Maribel cradled in one arm. What does he want? Why does he care if I'm in Camila's life? Rowena is quiet for a moment. Then she says, because Camila is the only person standing between him and Diane's money. Ethan stops pacing. What? Diane's trust isn't just for Maribel, Rowena explains. There's a second fund, a larger one. It was meant to go to Camila, reparations, Diane called it, money to make up for the years she wasn't there. Ethan's stomach twists. How much? Enough to change someone's life. Rowena's voice is grim. And Marcus knows about it. He's been trying to get access to it for months, but the terms are clear. Camila only gets the money if she agrees to the guardianship arrangement and maintains a relationship with Maribel. So if I refuse, the whole thing falls apart. Camila doesn't get the money. Marcus loses his leverage. And he's not the kind of man who takes losing well. Ethan sinks onto the couch, his head spinning. Why didn't anyone tell me this? Because Diane didn't want you making this decision based on money, Rowena says. She wanted you to choose family, connection. But Marcus, she exhales sharply. Marcus only cares about control. What's his deal? Why does Camila even talk to him if he's this bad? Rowena's voice softens. Because he's her father, and trauma doesn't follow logic, Ethan. You can know someone's toxic and still be tied to them in ways you can't explain. Ethan looks down at Maribel, who's staring up at him with wide, trusting eyes. What am I supposed to do? Meet with Camila, Rowena says firmly. Talk to her, without Marcus, without lawyers, just the two of you. Hear her side of the story. And if Marcus finds out? He will, Rowena says. But that's not a reason to hide. Diane didn't set this up so you could run from it. She set it up so you could face it. Ethan closes his eyes. I don't know if I can. Yes, you can. Rowena's voice is steady, certain. You've been doing impossible things for 6 months, Ethan. This is just one more. The line goes quiet. Then Rowena adds, I'll be at the support group tonight, 7 p.m. If you need backup, come early. We'll figure this out together. She hangs up before Ethan can respond. He sits there for a long time, staring at Camila's business card. Then he picks up his phone and types out a text. Can we meet? Just the two of us. I want to hear your side. He hits send before he can talk himself out of it. The reply comes faster than he expects. Coffee shop on 4th Street. Noon. I'll be there. Ethan sets the phone down and exhales slowly. Noon. 4 hours. 4 hours to figure out what he's going to say to the sister his wife never told him about. 4 hours to decide if he's walking into a solution or a trap. The coffee shop is small and crowded, the kind of place where baristas know regulars by name and the Wi-Fi password is written on a chalkboard behind the counter. Ethan finds a table in the back corner, Maribel asleep in the carrier against his chest, and orders a black coffee he doesn't drink. He's early. Camila isn't. At 12:15, she walks through the door. She's wearing the same denim jacket from yesterday, her locks pulled back into a loose bun. She scans the room, spots Ethan, and walks over without hesitation. She doesn't sit right away, just stands there, looking down at Maribel. She looks like her, Camila says quietly. Ethan's throat tightens. Yeah, she does. Camila sits down across from him, folding her hands on the table. You wanted to talk. I want answers. Ethan's voice is firmer than he feels. Starting with your father. Camila's jaw tightens. What about him? He called me yesterday, told me to stay away from you, threatened to destroy my life if I didn't. Camila's eyes close. She exhales slowly, and when she opens them again, there's anger there, and exhaustion. That sounds like him. Why does he care what I do? Camila leans back in her chair. Because he's been trying to control me my whole life, and Diane's money is the first real leverage I've ever had to get away from him. So it is about the money. For him? Yes. Camila's voice hardens. For me? No. I don't give a damn about Diane's guilt fund. I care about my niece. I care about the fact that my sister is dead and I never got to say goodbye. Ethan stares at her. Then why the guardianship? Why make it so complicated? Camila's laugh is bitter. You think I wrote those terms? That was all Diane. She wanted to force us together because she couldn't do it herself when she was alive. So you don't want this either? Camila hesitates. Then she looks at Maribel and her expression softens. I didn't. At first, I was angry. I wanted to tell Patricia to shred the whole thing and leave me alone. What changed? Camila's eyes meet his. I saw a picture of her, Maribel. Patricia showed me. And I realized she's the only family I have left who isn't toxic. The only person connected to Diane who didn't choose to cut me out. Her voice cracks. She's a baby. She doesn't know what Diane did. She doesn't know about the fights or the years of silence. She's just innocent. And I don't want her growing up thinking her mother's family didn't want her. Ethan's chest aches. I don't want that either. Then why are we sitting here like enemies? Camilla's voice is raw. I'm not trying to take her from you. I just want to know her. Ethan swallows hard. Your father thinks differently. My father, Camilla says slowly, doesn't get a vote. This is between you and me. He threatened me, Camilla. Said he'd make me lose everything. Camilla's face goes pale. What exactly did he say? Ethan repeats the conversation word for word. Camilla's hands curl into fists on the table. That bastard. What's he gonna do? I don't know. Camilla's voice shakes. But he's not bluffing. He has connections. People who owe him favors. If he wants to make your life hell, he can. Ethan's stomach drops. So what do I do? Camilla looks at him for a long moment. Then she reaches into her bag and pulls out a folded piece of paper. She slides it across the table. What's this? Ethan asks. A restraining order against my father. I filed it this morning. Ethan's eyes widen. You did what? I'm done letting him control me, Camilla says, her voice steady now. And I'm not letting him control you either. He comes near you or Maribel, he's violating a court order. That's jail time. Ethan stares at the paper. He's going to come after you for this. Let him. Camilla's eyes are fierce. I've been scared of him my whole life. I'm not doing it anymore. The coffee shop hums around them. Espresso machines hissing, low conversations, the clink of mugs on saucers. Ethan picks up the restraining order and reads it. Then he sets it down and looks at Camilla. Why are you doing this? Because Diane asked me to show up, Camilla says simply, and because that little girl deserves better than the mess we inherited. Ethan's eyes burn. He looks down at Maribel, still sleeping peacefully. I don't know how to do this, he admits. Shared custody, co-parenting with someone I just met. I barely know how to parent on my own. Then we figure it out together. Camilla's voice softens. One day at a time. No pressure, no expectations. Just showing up. Ethan meets her eyes, and for the first time since walking into Patricia's office, he sees something other than anger or grief. He sees hope. Okay, he says quietly. Let's try. Camilla exhales, and her shoulders sag with relief. Okay. They sit in silence for a moment. Then Camilla reaches across the table slowly, carefully, and touches Maribel's tiny hand. Maribel's fingers curl reflexively around hers, and Camilla's face crumples. She's so small, she whispers. Yeah, Ethan says, his voice thick. She is. Camilla pulls her hand back, wiping her eyes quickly. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Don't apologize. Ethan's voice is firm. You're allowed to feel this. Camilla nods, sniffling. Ethan's phone buzzes. He pulls it out. A text from an unknown number. You just made a very big mistake. Below it, a photo. Ethan's blood runs cold. It's a picture of him and Camilla sitting in the coffee shop. Taken from outside the window, 30 seconds ago. Camilla sees his face. What is it? Ethan shows her the phone. Her eyes widen, then narrow. He's watching us. Ethan looks toward the window. The street outside is busy. People walking, cars passing. Anyone could be out there. We need to go, Camilla says, standing. Where? Somewhere public, somewhere he can't corner us. Camilla grabs her bag. Trust me, now. Ethan stands, adjusting Maribel in the carrier, and follows Camilla out of the coffee shop. They step onto the sidewalk and Ethan scans the street, and then he sees him. Across the road, leaning against a parked car, Marcus Bennett, tall, late 50s, wearing a suit that's too expensive for a Tuesday afternoon. His arms are crossed, his expression is cold, and he's staring directly at them. Camilla grabs Ethan's arm. Don't engage. Keep walking. They start moving, but Marcus steps into the street. Camilla, his voice cuts through the noise. We need to talk. I have nothing to say to you, Camilla calls back without stopping. You filed a restraining order against your own father? Marcus's voice is louder now. People are starting to stare. After everything I've done for you? Camilla stops. turns. Everything you've done to me, you mean? Marcus's face hardens. He starts walking toward them. Ethan steps in front of Camila, his heart pounding. That's close enough. Marcus stops 10 feet away. His eyes flick to Maribel, then back to Ethan. You have no idea what you're getting into, Marcus says quietly. My daughter has a habit of destroying everything she touches. That's a lie, Camila says, her voice shaking. Is it? Marcus's smile is cruel. Ask him why Diane really cut you off, Camila. Ask him what she told him about you. Camila's face goes white. Ethan's pulse spikes. I don't know what you're talking about. Marcus laughs. Of course you don't, because Diane didn't tell you the truth. She never told anyone the truth. Stop, Camila whispers. She didn't leave because of me, Marcus says, his voice rising. She left because of you. That's enough, Ethan shouts, but Marcus keeps going. You want to know why your wife never mentioned her sister? Because Camila is the reason their mother is dead. The words land like a bomb. Camila stumbles backward, her breathing ragged. Ethan's mind reels. What? Marcus's expression is triumphant, cold. Ask her. Ask her what really happened 15 years ago, and then he turns and walks away, leaving Ethan standing on the sidewalk, holding his daughter, staring at Camila, who won't meet his eyes. Camila's apartment is smaller than Ethan expected. She unlocked the door without a word 20 minutes ago, and he followed her inside because he didn't know what else to do. Now, he sits on a worn couch that's seen better days, Maribel still asleep against his chest, while Camila stands at the window with her back to him. She hasn't spoken since Marcus walked away. Neither has Ethan. The silence stretches between them like a chasm neither knows how to cross. Finally, Camila turns around. Her eyes are red, but she's not crying. Her voice is steady when she speaks. I was 17. Ethan doesn't move, doesn't interrupt. My mom had lupus. She'd been sick for years, but it got worse that summer, really bad. She needed medication, expensive medication, and our insurance wouldn't cover it. Camila's hands twist together. My dad was supposed to handle it. He promised he would, but he didn't. She takes a shaky breath. He spent the money on something else, a business investment that went nowhere. And when my mom's condition got critical, there was nothing left. Ethan's chest tightens. I tried to help, Camila continues, her voice cracking. I had a part-time job, saved everything I could, but it wasn't enough. It was never going to be enough. Her jaw clenches. So I stole. The word hangs in the air. From where? Ethan asks quietly. A pharmacy. Camila's eyes are haunted. I knew the manager, thought I could slip in after hours, take what she needed, leave cash to cover it later. I was stupid, desperate. And I got caught. Ethan's throat burns. They called the cops. My dad had to come get me from the station. And while we were there, her voice breaks. My mom had a seizure, alone, at home. By the time the ambulance got there, it was too late. A tear slips down Camila's cheek. She wipes it away roughly. Diane was 22, away at college, building her perfect life. And when she came home for the funeral, she looked at me like I'd killed our mother with my own hands. Ethan's voice is hoarse. That wasn't your fault, wasn't it? Camila's laugh is bitter. If I hadn't gotten arrested, if I'd been there, your father should have been there, Ethan says firmly. Your father should have paid for the medication in the first place. You were a kid trying to save your mom's life. That's not a crime. That's love. Camila stares at him, her breath hitching. Diane didn't see it that way, she whispers. She blamed me, said I was reckless, selfish, that I'd destroyed our family. And then she left, went back to school and never came back, changed her number, blocked me on everything. I didn't hear from her again until Patricia called me 2 weeks ago to tell me she was dead. Ethan's heart breaks for both of them. For Camila, carrying 15 years of guilt and abandonment. For Diane, running from pain she didn't know how to process. She was wrong, Ethan says. Diane was wrong to cut you out. Camila shakes her head. Maybe, but Marcus was right about one thing. I do destroy everything I touch. No. Ethan stands, adjusting Maribel carefully. Your father is a liar and a manipulator. And he spent your whole life making you believe his version of the story. Camila looks at him, tears streaming down her face now. Diane didn't leave because of you, Ethan says. She left because she didn't know how to face what happened, and instead of dealing with it, she built a life where she could pretend none of it existed. He steps closer. But she regretted it, Camila. That's why she wrote you that letter. That's why she set up the trust. That's why she wanted us to meet. She knew she was wrong, and she was trying to fix it the only way she had left. Camila's face crumples. She covers her mouth with her hand, sobbing. Ethan closes the distance between them and pulls her into a one-armed hug, careful not to jostle Maribel. Camila clings to him, and for the first time since this whole nightmare began, something shifts. Not fixed, but softer. They stand there for a long moment, two strangers bound together by a woman who loved them both and didn't know how to say it. When Camila finally pulls back, she wipes her face with her sleeve. I don't know how to do this. Neither do I, Ethan admits, but we don't have to figure it all out today. Camila nods, sniffling. She looks down at Maribel, still sleeping peacefully. Can I hold her? Ethan hesitates for only a second. Then he nods. He carefully transfers Maribel into Camila's arms. She cradles the baby like she's made of glass, her expression a mixture of awe and terror. Maribel's eyes flutter open. She blinks up at Camila, her tiny face scrunching. Camila freezes. Is she going to cry? Maybe, Ethan says. Or maybe she knows your family. Maribel stares at Camila for a long moment. Then she yawns and settles back into sleep. Camila's breath catches. She's perfect. Yeah, Ethan says softly. She is. They sit together on the couch, Camila holding Maribel, Ethan watching them both. And for the first time in months, Ethan feels something other than fear. He feels hope. 3 months later, the community center on 5th Street smells like coffee and old carpet, but it feels like home. Ethan sits in a circle of folding chairs, Maribel on his lap, surrounded by other single parents who get it, who understand the exhaustion, the fear, the moments when you're not sure you're going to make it through the day. Rowena sits across from him, leading the discussion with the same calm authority she had on the plane. She catches his eye and smiles. He smiles back. Camila is 2 chairs over, talking to a single mom about navigating childcare and work schedules. She's been coming to the meetings for 2 months now. At first, it was awkward, tense, but slowly, week by week, they've found a rhythm. Shared custody isn't perfect. They still argue sometimes, still have moments where old wounds surface and sharp words fly, but they show up every week, for Maribel, for each other, for the family Diane wanted them to build. After the meeting ends, Rowena pulls Ethan aside. How are you doing? She asks. Better, Ethan says honestly. Not perfect, but better. Good. Rowena glances at Camila, who's buckling Maribel into her car seat. And you two? We're figuring it out. Ethan's voice is warm. It's messy, but it's working. Rowena's smile is knowing. That's all it needs to be. She squeezes his shoulder once, then walks away to talk to another parent. Camila approaches, Maribel babbling happily in her arms. You ready? Yeah. Ethan grabs the diaper bag. Your place or mine tonight? Mine, Camila says. I promised her mac and cheese. Ethan laughs. She's 8 months old. She can't even eat mac and cheese yet. Well, I can, Camila grins. And I'm making enough for you too. They walk out of the community center together into the warm California evening. The sun is setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Maribel reaches for Ethan, and he takes her from Camila, kissing her forehead. You know, Camila says quietly, I think Diane would be proud of us. Ethan looks at her. Yeah, I think so too. They walk to their cars, parked side by side in the lot. As Ethan buckles Maribel into her seat, his phone buzzes. A text from Patricia. Marcus withdrew his complaint. The restraining order stands. You're clear. Ethan exhales a breath he didn't know he was holding. He shows the message to Camila. Her eyes widen. Then she laughs. A real, genuine laugh. It's over. It's over, Ethan echoes. Camila leans against her car, looking up at the sky. I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, for him to find a way to ruin this. He couldn't, Ethan says, because we didn't let him. Camila looks at him, and there's gratitude in her eyes. Thank you for not giving up on this, on me. Thank you for showing up, Ethan says. For Maribel. For all of us. Maribel babbles from the car seat, waving her arms. Camila laughs. I think she's ready for that mac and cheese. Ethan grins. Let's go. They drive separately, but arrive at Camila's apartment at the same time. Ethan carries Maribel inside while Camila starts dinner. The apartment feels different now, warmer. There are pictures on the walls, photos of Maribel, of Diane, of the three of them together at the park last week. A family. Not the one Diane planned, not the one Ethan expected, but the one they built together from broken pieces and second chances. After dinner, Camila sits on the floor with Maribel, stacking blocks while the baby knocks them down over and over, squealing with delight. Ethan watches from the couch, his chest full. His phone buzzes. A text from Rowena. Proud of you, Ethan. Keep going. He types back. I will. Thank you for everything. Rowena's reply is instant. That's what family does. Ethan sets the phone down and joins Camila on the floor. Maribel crawls over to him, pulling herself up on his knee. She grins, her two bottom teeth showing. She's getting so big, Camila says softly. Too fast, Ethan agrees. Camila looks at him. Do you think we're doing this right? Ethan considers the question. I think we're doing our best, and that's enough. Camila nods. Yeah, I think you're right. Maribel babbles something that sounds almost like a word. Both Ethan and Camila lean in. Did she just... Camila starts. Say it again, baby girl, Ethan encourages. Maribel looks at them both, her eyes bright. Dada, she says clearly. Ethan's heart stops. Then Maribel turns to Camila. Mama. Camila's breath catches. Her eyes fill with tears. No, sweetie, she says gently. I'm not... It's okay, Ethan says quietly. If she wants to call you that, it's okay. Camila looks at him, tears streaming down her face. Are you sure? Ethan nods. Diane wanted her to have a family, all of it. You're her family, Camila. You've earned that. Camila covers her mouth, sobbing. Maribel reaches for her, and Camila scoops her up, holding her close. I love you, Camila whispers. I love you so much. Ethan watches them, and he knows. This is what Diane wanted. Not perfection. Not a life without pain, but connection, love, family. And they've built it. Together. 6 months later. The Oakland sun is bright and warm as Ethan pushes Maribel's stroller through the park. She's a year old now, babbling constantly, pointing at birds and dogs and everything that moves. Camila walks beside him, holding a picnic basket. They've been doing this every Sunday for the past 3 months. A tradition, their tradition. They find their usual spot under a large oak tree, and Camila spreads out a blanket. Ethan lifts Maribel from the stroller, and she immediately toddles toward a nearby flower, her legs still wobbly but determined. Careful, baby, Ethan calls, following close behind. Camila watches, smiling. She's fearless. She gets that from Diane, Ethan says. Camila's expression softens. And from you. They sit together on the blanket, Maribel between them, pulling grass and giggling. Ethan pulls an envelope from his pocket. I got something in the mail yesterday. Camila looks at it. What is it? Confirmation from Patricia. The trust is officially active. Maribel's college fund, your fund, all of it. Camila takes a shaky breath. I still can't believe she did all this. She loved you, Ethan says simply. She just didn't know how to show it when she was alive. Camila nods, wiping her eyes. I wish I could thank her. I think she knows, Ethan says. They sit in comfortable silence, watching Maribel explore the grass. A woman approaches, jogging past, then stops. It's Rowena. She's wearing workout clothes, headphones around her neck. She grins when she sees them. Well, look at this beautiful family, she says warmly. Ethan stands, giving her a hug. Didn't know you came to this park. Every Sunday, Rowena says. She crouches down to Maribel's level. Hi, sweet girl, you're getting so big. Maribel waves, then goes back to her grass. Rowena looks at Ethan and Camila. How are you both? Good, Ethan says. Really good. Better than I ever thought possible, Camila adds. Rowena's smile is genuine. I'm proud of you, both of you. What you've built, it's not easy, but it's beautiful. We couldn't have done it without you, Ethan says. Rowena shakes her head. You did the work. I just showed up when you needed someone to. She glances at her watch. I've got to finish my run. But I'll see you Thursday? We'll be there, Camilla says. Rowena jogs off, and Ethan and Camilla settle back onto the blanket. Maribel crawls over to Camilla and climbs into her lap. Camilla kisses the top of her head. I never thought I'd have this, Camilla says quietly. A family. People who choose to stay. You deserve it, Ethan says. You always did. Camilla looks at him. So do you. They sit together, watching the sun filter through the oak leaves. Maribel playing between them, and Ethan realizes something. He's not alone anymore. Neither is Camilla, neither is Maribel. They're a family, messy, complicated, built from grief and secrets and second chances, but a family nonetheless. And that's enough, more than enough. It's everything. This is what resilience looks like. This is what family looks like when you choose to build it instead of running from it. Ethan and Camilla didn't get a perfect story, but they got a real one. They got each other, and they got Maribel. If this story moved you, don't just watch and leave. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. Share this with someone who needs to hear that second chances are possible, that asking for help isn't weakness, that family isn't just blood, it's the people who show up when everything falls apart. Drop a comment and tell me, what moment hit you hardest? What would you have done in Ethan's place? Your story matters. Your voice matters. Let's keep this conversation going. More stories like this are coming. Stories that dig deep. Stories that don't let go. Stories that remind us we're not alone. Don't miss the next one. Stay subscribed, stay connected, and keep showing up for yourself, for your people, for the stories that need to be told. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring. Until next time.